Hello and welcome to another comedian's interview for my blog and podcast, A Rich Comic Life. My name is Richard Gill and my blog describes my experiences of watching over 1,400 comedians and counting for the last 50 years. I'm delighted to welcome my guest today. It's the fantastic Mr. Gary Jennison. Yay!
Double word, Mr. Gill, just for you.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm very well. I've created a broom cupboard. I've gone 1990s CBeebies, children's BBC anyway, and I've created a
Fantastic.
broom cupboard. So I couldn't. I was going to get one with your face on, but in the print shop, they were like, just stick with the logo,
You don't
mate.
want that. You need some darts with it.
Oh, a Richard Gill dartboard just in time for Christmas. I like that.
So how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, very well. Yeah, we've got lots of stuff in the planning in terms of comedy festivals and
Indeed.
touring, loads of kids shows, loads of hosting, and so
Amazing.
trying to plan a few exciting things as well. But we shall talk about that as we go through, I guess.
Indeed, my friend. Well, this is an interview all about you, your
Good.
comedy career.
Well,
Um,
I'm not used to talking about myself, you know.
well, we'll chat.
I
We'll
know,
just
like,
chat because I know you very well. We'll just talk.
I'm doing a lot of hosting these days. I normally go, "What do you do?" and go, "Oh, look at them shit shoes. And you were there, or get a proper job."
Whatever you want to do, you do. It's great. I'm just
I'll just do
delighted
it
you're
as
here.
yeah. I'll just
So,
host. I'll host the. I'll host it, Rich. I'll just end up
yeah,
picking.
well, you
What do you do
normally
for a
do
job, Rich?
brilliantly. Yes, yeah, yeah. You can interview me. No. So we're going to go right back to the start.
Wow.
I'm going to ask you, why did you become a comedian in the first place?
Well, it goes back a long, long way. So I have been the class clown. I've been the work joker. I've been the fool, the thespian. Um, so yeah, I've been kind of being silly and visual and enjoying having a laugh for a long time. So I've I had a bit of a calling, and I thought, do you know what? It was a bucket list item. That's generally true. It was a fancy having a go at comedy. Everyone's been saying for years I should go. I was a late starter. I was 30
All
when I started. I won't say how long ago. By the end, everyone will know. I've moisturised for this, Rich. Um, but
right.
yeah, I was 30 years old, and it was a bucket list item. It was one of those things that if I don't do it now, I'll never know what it's like. I was used to the stage in terms of acting, and I'd done some youth drama and presentations with work, but never kind of putting myself, my own stories and ideas, and um, out there basically.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that was it. That was it. It was one of them culminations of I had a go at it. And I'll tell you about my first gig what in a bit. But yeah, it was just basically never thought I'd become a comedian as most people say. I knew I was funny. Being funny in the pub or at a checkout is very different to being in the bear pit of a room of strangers and kind of you being a boss and owning it. And I've learned those skills as we've gone along. But yeah, so 2011 it was.
Wow.
That was when I started being a comedian. Um, and didn't get into it straight away. I did a bucket list first ever gig, and then it was about another 18 months before I properly gone, do you know what? I'll go back into this. Started hosting a few nights, and then it's just taken off from there, really.
And this is all based around Hull, is that right?
Yeah, Hull in East Yorkshire. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I do a lot of regional things as well. But yeah, majority of the nights I run are in Hull or the East Riding.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
a dream. Now I'm being a road comedian. An hour. If you can have a gig within an hour of your house, you're laughing at you. It's a local gig.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Home
What?
before midnight. Oh, brilliant! Match of the day and a slice of toast. Well,
what? You've hit the nail on the head because it's a reason why I do it. I watch so many comedians. Um, I first come across you at the Leicester
no
no,
Hastings.
Hastings Comedy Festival. I beg your pardon. Yeah, Hastings Comedy Festival about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the act that me and my friends Maria and Ian were booked to see didn't turn up. You turned up, and I thought, who is this? And
You
you
still
walked
paid as
on.
well, Rich. Everybody still paid. So the option was it was free to get in. You can have your ticket back.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people had a refund because we had such a good laugh, didn't we?
Well, there you are. And we're so pleased we stayed because you created for me one of the greatest bits of comedy I've ever heard.
Oh, that's
And I
so.
genuinely mean that because
I
what
respect
happened.
that. You've seen a lot of comedians and
Oh,
a lot of hours in comedy, and that's amazing.
and I can just tell. I'm so pleased you ticked it off your bucket list because you're an absolute natural. I'm not going to crawl up your arse all the hour, but
Not virtually, let's take them to the comedy festival together.
but you are. You know, it's like whenever I have a beer with you, it's like having a second show. You're
Oh no,
always on, and it's wonderful.
I am switched on all the time, and it's quite
Yeah.
annoying to people who don't like a lot.
Well, there you are. But I mean, look at Eric Morecambe. I was chatting to Gary the last year. I know he said picking up a name drop, but I was saying, what was it like with him as being your dad? He said, well, he was always on, so they could
Yeah,
never take boyfriends or girlfriends home because he was always joking. But
yeah.
the loveliest man, but calm down, you're not on stage, you know what I'm saying? But we love that. We know. I always say to a lot of comedians, whenever I see your name on a bill, I know I'm going to have a great night.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
that's a massive compliment because I have seen so many. And it's your talent is hilarious, absolutely hysterical. You're just a
Oh,
funny man.
thanks, Rich. I'm a big believer in being authentic.
Yeah.
We don't have an infinite amount of time, do we? We're not on this earth for very long, really.
Yeah.
When you look at it, and if I can have a laugh and people enjoy that, and we're all in it together, I won't get
Yeah.
emotional. I'll wait till the end before I have a cry. I've
Please,
got
is
my
there a
tissues here.
bucket?
I'm either going to have a wank or a cry. We'll see how I am.
but just to follow on from that, when we saw you, you literally said, "I've no idea what I'm going to talk about for the
Yeah.
next
Didn't have a show. It
half
was
an
just I
hour.
was filling in, just helping out. Yeah.
Has anybody got any questions or comments?" And thank God I mentioned. I wonder why I've got diabetes after eating 2 bags of crisps a day because you took the subject of crisps and you ran with it for about half an hour, and it was one of the funniest. We were crying. I couldn't contain my laughter. Um, have you ever done that before, where you've gone, I've no idea what I'm going to talk about? Has anybody got any questions or comments? Nobody said anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. Thanks for that. That's lovely to hear, isn't it? It's one of my strengths. I'm very switched on and very quick. In
Yeah,
terms of stand up, it's not one of my massive strengths. I've been predisposed material, which I know sounds weird as a comedian, but there's lots of different forms and guises of comedians and comedy, as you well know. But having a scripted, it doesn't feel real sometimes, and I've not got a vast amount of time to kind of concentrate just on stand up.
yeah,
So um, improvising. I've done a lot of improvising in the past. Being Jed Salisbury, comedy partner, and the
yeah.
cartoon
Of
from the
course,
kids show as
very
well.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, we do a lot of improvisation. We used to do it when we hosted together, and we just kind of did like nip things on paper, and people pick it out, and stuff. People shout it. Yeah, it can go not as well as it did that occasion where people shouldn't shout with some horrific things at the end. You've got 10 minutes about something that you don't want to necessarily talk about. Um, but yeah, people shout all sorts. The funniest thing, someone went Costa, and they wanted me to talk on 3 minutes about Costa. And for some reason, and Jed will back me up on this, anything that I do in that kind of scenario often becomes dirty. I can make the most, I can talk about flowers and talk about fucking flowers. Everything as nice as it sounds, I can make it sound horrific. And the first thing I went, do you know the logo? It looks like three vaginas. And I just did about 4 minutes on how Costa Coffee looks like fannies. And Starbucks, underneath that logo, if you zoom down a little bit, she's got a fanny. I mean, admit it's not a vaginas on show. But in terms of comedic prowess, it was quite
brilliant.
interesting. But yeah, it doesn't always go as well as you saw that time. It's one of my big strengths. That one of the main reasons I'm now kind of concentrating on hosting and doing a lot of MC work and kind of do a lot of corporates. kind of got that's a different skill set as well, to be fair. But yeah, it's just nice, isn't it? Just nice to. I love that, and like you said, then you come alive when you talk about your comedy
Yeah,
experiences. That'll never happen again. We'll never be in, and it
yeah,
was a lovely theatre, wasn't it? It was a small
yeah.
kind of 50-seater old
You're in the
cinema.
moment of a
Yeah,
comedy.
that'll never happen,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I love creating that performance. That's what it's about, and it doesn't whether it's I'm an 80s kid, so we all have undiagnosed conditions, don't we? So I mean, some people say switched on, have a laugh. Other people might say ADHD or he needs to be on tablets. But hey, each to their own.
I am on tablet.
Oh, it'll pop in some. Actually. I've got fresh breath for this, but no one will see it or see it, will they?
Of course you
Um,
have.
it's not good. But yeah, no, I'm a big believer in creating, living in the moment, and I think there's
So
no
there
better
you are.
feeling.
There you are with all these big ambitions and this extraordinary gift that you've got. What was your first ever gig like? Was it like a 5 minute thing in a pub with Bringer or what?
Oh, there's no such bringers as up north with a bloody hell. Like, bits we don't try and crust a living. We bring 10 of your mates. Oh,
So because down here I am always the bringer. I'm always the friend because
yeah,
they know they're going to get laughs.
yeah,
And
exactly.
it may just be me laughing, but I
Yeah.
try and encourage everybody to
I
laugh.
mean,
It's
with
dead good.
the power of technology, once you're dead, we'll have a Richard Gill laughter box, and we'll just,
Well,
you
there
know
we
what I
go.
mean. If I'm
God
not, if I'm
forbid.
saying something, they don't get a laugh. Oh, do you think about crisps? Not a laugh. I'll just
one
put
of
that on
my
the
favorite. I've got a testimonials page on my blog. Loads of
Oh, nice.
comedians. Please send me one or by an email. And my favorite one is James Acaster, and he wrote, "If I wasn't a comedian, I would happily sit next to Richard Gill all day and make him laugh." And I thought
Yeah.
that was genius.
It's a lovely feeling. It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
great.
You're a top bloke, and it's nice that it's a nice. You
Oh,
enjoy it when people are
yeah,
having fun.
yeah.
It's you can't buy it, can you? It's a
Yeah,
wonderful.
I always get sometimes criticised for my blog because I like everybody, but the
Well,
uniqueness of it, I don't think I do like everybody, but the uniqueness of it is it's all about my experiences of watching you all, and that's just a wonderful thing. It's my passion. It's so good. Um, what do you like to talk about on stage when you appear?
um,
What are your themes?
oh, loads of stuff, really. Loads. Oh, I haven't told you about my first gig yet.
Go on, tell me about your
I'm going
first
to
gig.
tell you
I'm
because you'll
intrigued.
laugh your head off. So you said it wasn't a bringer. It absolutely was. So it was a part of a. So like I said, my first ever gig was my first ever experience in comedy. Never done it before. Didn't really know kind of the etiquette and what to do. So I turned up. I was told that I had between 5 and 7 minutes. It's part of the comedy festival as well, which was great. I brought 40 people because
They're bringers.
everyone, well, exactly, but there's no such thing as that. Basically, I was booked whether I brought one or 100 people.
And this was
Um,
in Hull.
yeah, so it was
Yeah.
a lovely little bar that's still there, but it doesn't run any comedy anymore. It's changed its name as well. It was what 2011. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. There was about 53 people in the audience, so at least 40 of those were for me.
Wow.
So anyway, 5 to 8 minutes, I was told. 19 minutes. oh,
No.
oh, yeah. But it was, I've got the video. I watched it actually last year. And it's just, you've seen me unbox it. You've seen when someone like pulls the lid off the can.
Yeah.
It's like shaking up a kind of,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
just
It's extra. You go into like
explosion
another
of,
mode. It's amazing.
it was me in my rawest form. It was great. I was making it was just basically storytelling and kind of observations and
Yeah.
all of the skills you've seen me in many different forms. But it was fantastic. And I don't know whether they didn't kind of like shoo me off because I brought such a big audience or um, I don't know. Or they're just like, we'll let this guy go on. He seems to be doing all right. And I did smash it. I did absolutely. It was one of my best ever gigs. And weirdly, all of those acts, if I bump into them, they still remember that gig for
There
right
you
or
go.
wrong reasons. But I'm still friends with a couple of the audience. Sorry, the comedians on
Yeah.
the list. Some people have never been back to see me.
I don't know
But that's
about
what
this.
happens, isn't
I'm
it?
off.
When you run comedy and do stuff, it's like, I've seen that, I've seen him now. But yeah, it was a massive thing. A lot of people have been kind of waiting for years to see me on a comedic stage. So
Well, I
yeah,
genuinely
it was funny.
hope that you realise how good you are because you really are.
I think that's it's a difficult thing in it because a lot of comedy is driven by success.
Yeah.
So when you sit here, with two blokes on laptops, to give if people are listening at home, this was recorded on laptops. We have
Yeah.
the technology, we have the power.
Yeah.
But I think it's just about having fun with it, innit?
Yeah.
That's the
Very
main.
much so. And knowing you as I do, as I said at the top, going round after the gigs with you, it's like having another show. It's
Yeah.
it's it's extraordinary because you are very friendly with a lot of people, and you go out to be friendly when people can't be bothered. Some people can't be bothered, and it's like, oh, I've done this show,
Well,
and
it's a
but you're
performance for
always
some
on, and it's
people, isn't it?
wonderful.
No, I live and breathe comedy. For some
Yeah,
people, it is a performance, and that's what I found out very. It's called show business, isn't it? It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah,
Like Jed kind of guided me when we started becoming friends. I was like, I was kind of, you make decisions around comedy, going, oh yeah, yeah, and you're trying to be friendly, and
yeah,
then some people just want the gigs, and some people, yeah. So just me, as I've got older as well, just being genuine and authentic. And there's some people that I don't have the time for. After gigs, when someone wants you to sign a tit or
I must stop doing that.
yeah, stop it. Stop sending them messages. The only dick pic I want from you was a picture of your Uncle Richard, so don't you worry.
That's my middle
That's not a
name.
euphemism. That is not a euphemism. But yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? In terms of asking, kind of, how do I think about it?
Yeah,
One of my favourite things is that improv. It's that, and that's why I'm being quite successful now at hosting. It's that, what do you do, and that kind of having to make something funny out of the unknown, but also you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
love that. I love that. I try not to be too like what's the word? Cliched, like, what do you do for a living? Or, oh, fancy it, oh, look at him. Or, if there's two women, oh, you must be lesbians. I try and steer away of all of that kind of like niche or hack type of stuff. But yeah, some of the funniest times that we've had in doing comedy has come from just somebody saying something or laughing in the wrong
yeah,
place.
yeah.
Just um, just going for it, just seeing what happens. And I think that plays to my strengths. That definitely plays. You get the best out of me when I'm allowed to be free and not worry about if the joke's going to land or have I said everything I was about to say.
Yeah.
If I'm unscripted, that really does get the best out of me.
And that is uh, that can be quite dangerous for you because you, as you say, but that's the beauty of it because you never know where you're going to go. So when I say what you like to talk about on stage, if it's unscripted, how cool is that? Just let's
It's
see what's out there.
It's great. It's fantastic. I mean, I do have some threads. I do have, like, when I'm doing a set, I mainly talk about being a dad now and kind of being an 80s kid.
Yeah,
Um, we start off with the lookalike stuff. That's always like when you first start comedy, that's what you do. I've tried steering away from that now because my lookalike is Mr. Fantastic. If Mr. Fantastic was from a council estate, do you know what I mean? Like, I
that's
look like
brilliant.
the fantastic forehead as well. I've got a massive head. That's not because I'm receding. I've just always had a big head. 6 foot, with a small head. But yeah, that's kind of. I've just thought that's good, isn't it, Mister Fantastic
Brilliant,
forehead?
brilliant.
Um,
I had a go at stand-up comedy once. I think I told you this years ago, and I wrote a script about me crashing cars in Carlisle. And
Okay.
as I just passed my driving test, and he loved it. And he said, "Right," he said, "we've got a gong show for old folk. Couldn't be worse." And I walked out on a Monday afternoon, and the first thing I said to them was, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. People think I look like Eddie the Eagle Edwards, the ski jumper, but I can't see the resemblance myself." And some old fella at the back, I look exactly like him. Some old fella at the back just went, "Fuck off!" and cut us off. And the
Fair
promoter
enough.
said, "Have another go." And I did, and similarly, and I said, "I don't know whether never say never again, but my calling is in the audience." So,
Yeah,
so it was.
that's where you're comfortable.
Um,
That's what you do. What you do, you don't you, Rich? It's good.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
very much.
yeah, I mean, there's
So
a big risk of that, Rich. There is a big risk of kind of being free because, like you just said it then, bookers and promoters sometimes don't know what they're getting. So when I try and gig locally or regionally, it's kind of going, what? I'm not necessarily unbookable. I don't mean it like that, but they don't always know what they're going to get. So that there's a risk for them, obviously, because that's what when you're doing comedy, you need a solid 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. If I'm headlining, I can headline the smaller clubs these days. Then if they want somebody who's just going to kind of, sometimes rip the roof off and kind of go for it and have a laugh and kind of be high energy at the end to finish off an evening, then yeah, I'm bookable all day long. If you want someone who's got a proven track record of, I mean, I stick to town these days. In the last 6 years, I've bought a watch, Richard. Got it. I ain't got it on now, so you might have to keep an eye on it for me. But yeah, there is a risk of that type of approach for sure.
yeah,
But it seems I'm more confident with it. I've true to myself now in terms of what I know for me, what works, and the realms of what I need to do, and it works really well. It's been really positive for me.
brilliant. I have a new
Look at this.
smartwatch that I got for Christmas, and I wore it at a comedy club very recently, and I didn't realise that there was the setting was all wrong, right? So when I clapped and laughed really loudly, it went, "We've detected you've had a hard fall. We are ringing the emergency services." I'm in the middle of a comedy club,
Love
right?
it. That's
And
definitely Richard Gill.
the bloke at the other end went, "Can I help you? Are you all right?" And the compere went, "Is that a heckle?" I went, "I don't know what I'm doing. I can't switch it up." It was very
Imagine having a little thing from your camera.
it was so funny. Right. Tell me about your writing process for a routine or a show or a compare act. Do you have
Yeah,
anything you want to say to them?
I massively. So I'll give you the three kind of guys he's ready. So hosting
Yeah.
and MC work, no material. When I very first started hosting, I had my top jokes, my bankers, if you like, from my set. I think that's really disgenuine to the audience, but especially if you're trying to gig within a 80-mile radius, because you might come across similar audiences or the same audience. And if you're going, "Welcome to the night, how are you, Gladys?" And it's like, it doesn't, it's the same bloody routine every time you
Yeah, yeah,
host.
yeah.
I've stopped doing that now. So in terms of that, I just make sure I'm relevant. I'll always check like the news of that week, just to make sure I'm on point.
Mm.
And then I'll always kind of, in terms of just kind of seeing what's out there, have a look a bit of the news, see what's watch a few TikToks and stuff like that
Yeah,
early
yeah.
into the gig and see what's out there, and then just go and have fun with it. That's kind of the process for hosting. In terms of stand up, again, it comes from my own experiences. So council estate kid, really proud of it. Hull. Two elements of Hull. I've lived in both. Most of the council estates in Hull. I've crossed the river, if you like. So yeah, I think from a process comes from always being the underdog in some regards in terms of using my life experiences. Always felt sometimes I haven't fitted in certain places. Comedy's no different to that. When I very first started, you don't know what to do, do you? You don't know who to say thank you to. Kind of, do you know what I mean? It can be a bit of a scary place when you're trying to make people laugh. It's not a funny business sometimes. Making people laugh. So yeah, my process for that is just basically I know how to write jokes. It doesn't always necessarily come out right, because sometimes if we're not laughing, we're learning, aren't we, Rich? That's one of my go-to lines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're not laughing, no, we must be learning. But when you very first start, there's a big difference now. Just over a decade in, since I started doing comedy regularly, you do that. You'll say something, it doesn't land, don't get a laugh, so then your brain will go, oh, and you're in the hole. Oh, that got a laugh at Doncaster last night, and the audience aren't bothered that you were funny last night. Want you to be funny tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you take all that, and as you grow as an actor and your confidence and you understand the audience, for me, I've learned to kind of ride, and I don't mind the silences. I absolutely love the silences sometimes. As you've seen a few times when you come on and you just go, right, you're not expecting to see me perform. I have got stuff I can say and I've got jokes, but let's bring it out to you. It's your afternoon, and that's what we did in it on that Sunday. It was great.
Yeah,
and then from a kids show point of view, in terms of traditional joke writing, so there's the joke, which is a little story, the bridge, so getting you somewhere, leading you to either the cul-de-sac or the thingy, and then the surprise. So you've got the beginning, the middle, and the end. Traditional joke writing, very simple. We do it in our kids show. We have a thread, so we do the story, then the middle, and then the end. And we do that in all our games and all our kind of interactions. You think something's going to happen, and then we get audience and dress them as human robots and have a fight to the death. It's quite unexpected for most audience members, that is, Rich. But yeah, the process as well, and Steve Rimmer, the Wells only bomb disposal comedian I met. He said the audience tells you if you're funny, and that has always stuck with me. Just going out there and saying stuff and doing stuff, and the audience will let you know. And if it's funny, doing it again. And if you do it 3 or 4 times and it don't get a laugh, don't do it again. And when I'm writing new stuff, I often go on stage and let the audience and be genuine. Go, right, I've got a few jokes that'll definitely make you laugh. Some of these might be shit, and it's not my fault. You got to laugh. It's your fault, isn't it? Comedy. So you've seen me down south, you've seen me up north, you've seen me in the Midlands. They're very different places, and I think I actually hadn't thought about that until I've talked to you today. But yeah, you've seen me in a kind of 200+ mile radius of gigging, which is quite phenomenal when you think about it. From Hastings, Leicester, Hull, they're very different. Not just culturally, but very different demographically as well. With people, the mix and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so I think the audience, and I've always got a laugh. I don't really die my ass because I'm always look like I'm having fun. So even if I've got loads of laughs, or not as funny as I expect to be, I have a good time. And I don't let it affect me too much these days. I make sure I have a good time. The audience appreciate that, even if they're shouting, "Fucking hurry up!"
Exactly. Yeah. That's. I think that's key. I think you've got to go at it as though it's the first time you've ever done it, and
it's a lot of energy.
I'm gonna make them laugh.
Yeah. I think you do get a bit, and I guess we'll talk about that as we go through today. But some people have an end destination, don't they? Some people go, in 10 years' time, I should be on the telly, I should be earning loads, I should have a house, I should do this. Whereas I've mainly seen it as a journey for me creatively. Some of the best experiences I've ever had are in doing comedy. And that's amazing. I never thought, when I was doing 19 minutes and I should have only done 7, that I'd make a career out of it. Do you know what I mean? It's
so good. I wanted to talk to you more about Jeddy Bear and Gary's children's shows.
Yeah.
How did they come about? How do you know Jed? Is it because he's been on here, and it's fair to say that Jed is a professional comedian. He goes around Hull or wherever, and he's
doing it all the time.
He does a 20-minute set, etc. How did the children's show develop?
Right. So first met Jed when within less than a year of starting comedy. So I've known Jed for 12 years plus,
Right.
which is a frightening thought for him.
He loves it.
He loves it. I've got nearly a decade on Jed. So, yeah, I mean, I'll retire before he does. So, we are going to do a kids show at least once a year until we die, because I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I absolutely. I mean, I'm not wishing my life away, but I think catheter bags and shitting yourself in a kids show,
It's
and
so
you can't
good.
hear a fucking thing. You know what is? I can't wait for it in many ways.
It's so good. What's wonderful is every year you get nominated as well, deservedly, for the awards.
Oh, we have to work so hard. I don't know many acts that, in terms of the kids' comedy, we write a new show. So we've challenged ourselves. So we first met. I'd done my Hull Comedy Festival bucket list gig, and didn't think anything of it. That was it. Tick, done. Move on to something else. I was planning some more mountain climbing at that time, so I thought, great. And then a couple of people at that gig said, they were in the pub, and said, "Oh, that was brilliant. Can you do some of this?" So I'm like, "Oh, okay, that sounds excellent." And then for whatever reason, it didn't quite work out. The people who were running the gig and the venue, it didn't quite happen. So I just went, "Do you know what? I've got a couple of contact details from the people I met at the gig. I'll do it." And I'm kind of, like I said, I've got experience running events, projects, and gigs and stuff. So I ran a gig. My second ever gig was me hosting. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. I knew not to go for 17 minutes there, at least. So I did about 9 or 10. But even up until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, my comparing was very much kind of hosting. Like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a good night, and all of this stuff. It's not the kind of the form that you see now. So I needed a lineup. Asked around locally, and Jed's name kept coming up, so I thought, he can't be shit. Rang him up, and I went, "Are you free, mate?" He thought I was a date, because he'd been to I can't remember exactly, but I think he'd been to a wedding or something, and I presume he'd give a few people his number. So I've rang, and he's expecting this lovely chat with somebody attractive, and it's me going, "All right, mate, do you want a gig?" The funny thing, though, obviously I didn't know at the time, we've become friends. I was one of his first ever headliners, so I'm going, "Oh, do you want 100 quid?" And he's going, "Fucking £100? Fucking yes."
Brilliant.
So that's how it started, basically. 40 minutes in, I asked him to source some of the local comedians, give him a budget, and then I hosted. He helped me book the night. And then it took about 2 or 3 years, and then we kind of just became, we hit it off after that. We've become good friends and business partners as well. I won't talk too much about it, because this is about me.
Well,
No.
yeah, but
I'm kidding. No, it's great.
You are a double act for kids.
Yeah, well, it was a big risk for Jed. As you say, he's a well-established comedian locally and regionally and nationally. And yeah, it was a big risk. He doesn't need to do a kid show.
Yeah.
So, and I presume there was some. I mean, like I say, I kind of get rid of all that. I'm very a positive person. Try not to take too much notice of the critics, if you like. But I presume there would have been some people that have gone, "Why is Jed doing a kids show with this guy?"
Who thought of doing a kids show?
Well, to be absolutely honest, it was our second year running the Hull Comedy Festival, so we're trying to build up. And Hull had basically, when we looked at the lineups over there, when was that? So that was 2017.
Yeah.
Big year for us. It was our City Culture year. And basically 3 months before, just before we were putting the programme out, a couple of acts pulled out.
Right.
So we were like, we didn't have much money either, because all the money was funded from City Culture year. So we had big events, but we didn't have much budget left. So we were like, okay. And we just looked at each other and went, we'll just do a show. We'll just do a kid show. We talked about it. We talked about writing and kind of going from it. And we did it. So we booked in this one, Jenny Bear and Gary's Picnic. And that's what we called it. We didn't have no idea, no intentions of kind of using it as a vehicle for comedy or being creative. We just thought, let's do a kid show. And then we did an hour. And then the second gig we did, literally straight afterwards, was Jenny Bear and Gary's Disco. So we literally, basically, Jed was a DJ and he made me dance my tits off for an hour. And they're still not happy about it. I've got cartilage damage. But he made me
Hobbling
dance.
off.
Look, we
What a
got
whoopties.
mums and dads, and we literally had dance off with the kids and the parents. It was and the carers. It was fantastic. It was beautiful, to be fair. But I soon realised they aren't doing that again. I'll be dead. I'll have a stroke on stage. But we basically, so we did that, put it in the program, came up with a little bit of blurb. We wrote it over a meal in the venue because we run monthly nights there as well. And as the Ed, old cliche if you like, but the rest is history. We kind of wrote the show
Took off.
loosely based on the Teddy Bears picnic. We did a bit of a search, and no one has told the story of the Teddy Bears picnic.
Yeah.
So if you read the first few verses of the Teddy Bears picnic, that is our show basically. If you go down to the woods today, you should be a bit surprised. That's why there's a woodland theme. We actually filmed a live show in the woods during lockdown as well. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But yeah, that's it really. We kind of fell into it, and it's worked. It's we're now called Teddy Bear and Gary, and we have themes. So this was our picnic show. We've had a Fiesta of Fun show and a Chemistry of Chaos show.
I've seen the last two. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've been in one of them. You dressed me up as a knight.
Dressed you up as a knight, wrapped you around the head with an inflatable, put foil on you, and put a pen in your face. I mean, we're still friends.
And it's so well deserved, all the awards and everything, because I mean, you look at the kids' faces, no, this is incredible, and because again, they don't know what they're going to get next. It's fantastic.
Yeah, there is a thread to it. There is a process, obviously, and the thing for us, I've got 2 kids myself, and we realise whenever you interact with adults, it's always the adults in one corner.
Yeah.
So you go ice skating, the kids are off, aren't they? And the parents are sat. We had an ice skating party, and the kids all ice skating, falling over on the laugh with the kind of the penguins or the polar bears or whatever. Parents are sitting hot chocolate on the corner. You go to cinema, it's in the dark, you don't talk. You go to laser quest parties, the kids are playing while the adults are moaning about £4 for parking for an hour. So we wanted to really bring something where it could be all inclusive, for all ages, where it's the grown-ups versus the kids.
Yeah. Let's move on. I wanted to ask you, how do you cope with any nerves? I can't imagine you ever getting nervous because you're so confident on stage.
Yeah, I was nervous. I'm less so now. For me, I put the fun back into being funny. I think that's it. The nerves. And I was asked a while ago about this, a similar sort of thing, and someone said, "Don't you worry about not being funny?" And I'm like, "No, I don't mind it. The worst that can happen, and this is kind of you train yourself, being mindful, dealing with the facts. The worst that can happen is no one laughs, and I'm all right with that. Do you know what I mean? I'm okay with it."
Yeah. I normally follow that with a question. Would you say that if as soon as you spoke into the microphone or your first laugh, any nerves that you do have go?
Oh, this is a really genuine thing. I can probably tell within the first 3 minutes what kind of night it's going to be.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm hosting. I have to work my socks off sometimes. And I never blame the audience. I'm not one of that's what, for me, the nerves go, because I know I've got a performance in me. So I never blame the audience. If it's a crap night, it's a crap night. That's fine. As long as it hasn't been too disastrous and people aren't, chucking stuff at you.
Yeah.
It sometimes takes a lot of work to create that atmosphere and get that bubble where people are relaxed and having a laugh.
Yeah.
Not to do it too much with alcohol, because I am funny if you've had a beer. Not a t-shirt. But yeah, genuinely, for me, it's about, we addressed it, didn't we, at the start of the talk today. Me being authentic, you wanting a laugh, and us enjoying the ride. And I think for me, the nerves just disappear. You can definitely tell. I can definitely tell. I'll go into a room. You've seen me when we drove to a gig, didn't we, in the Hull Comedy Festival last year, and I was worried about, it was quite a middle class, quite a affluent village, and we can be quite, not rough and ready, but kind of sometimes like the language, the tone, or a bit sweary for some people sometimes, perhaps, or not used to that, and people aren't used to comedy, that creates a little bit of fear, I guess, in terms of not necessarily a confidence thing. It's more about managing the night. You know, if I go and go, right then, you fucking idiots, you're all stupid. Not, I'm not going to set the night off wonderful. No, then you inbred bastards. You know, it's not, give us six. It's not really going to go well. But yeah, but once again, me being myself, coming up with a few lines, working, doing the work. You know, you sometimes don't realise you're doing it, but I, as you've seen, put a lot of work into the gigs, especially when I'm hosting. You know, whether it's observing something in the room or whether it's kind of seeing, you know, what type of people or what people are wearing, or kind of asking what jobs to do, what kind of do for a laugh. And just going with it and just running with it is wonderful.
It's so interesting because I think from a character point of view for me, for years I used to sit right at the back of comedy clubs, and I used to think my laugh would carry, and now I would not sit other than on the front row because I like to be part of the set. And loads of them go, oh my God, it's Rich, he's brilliant, he's so good. And to play along with them, I remember Al Murray would come on, and he was like a special guest. And normally he's got a pint of beer and he sprays the front row with the beer. With me, he looked at me, he just went right over me. And it's great to see you. I'm like, thanks.
All else to the
I would never have done that 10 years ago, but it's wonderful being part of it.
I think as well, Rich, there's a risk with that as well, isn't there? That you have had it in kind of like some not so good experiences where the audience have just given you crap all night and kind of you're on the verge of going, I'm going to have to chuck them out here. And then afterwards, you know, you get that shock. You were brilliant. Going, one, tell your face. Two, shut the fuck up. and three, please don't come back. And then they go, you were great, I just wanted to help you out. That's why I was interacting. I'm going, I'm a professional. I don't need your help. But from what you're talking about, you're in for the ride. You're not there to kind of distract, or you're a good participant.
Let's talk about how the Hull Comedy Festival and your involvement, Jed's involvement with it came about, because you're now the directors of it. Have you always been the directors of it?
No, it's hard not to call him Jeddy Bear, isn't it? Especially when there's a big bear face. I saw you struggling there, Rich.
Tell me how long Hull's been going. I'm so looking forward to coming back at the end.
Yeah, it'd be great. And we've given you the branding now, so the pink and the black is very striking. We have a couple of radio presenters as well in Zetland FM in the north.
Yeah.
In Redcar, on all their stuff online when they posted as the Hull Comedy Festival. Which is great. It's good to kind of
exclusive T-shirt. Thank you so much.
It is. It's a limited run. Yeah, we've got some new ones. We're doing a big smiley face this year. So for a discount, I'll give you £1 off. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I'll send it in the post. So how did it all come about?
Yeah, so Hull Comedy Festival was an initiative with a business district. So do you like the business improvement schemes? There's one in Leicester. I know Leicester have a big involvement with theirs. So it started off, and a business owner called John Gilbert, who we joke at our smiley face logo of the Hull Comedy Festival is him, because he had bad teeth, but he's now spent loads of money on his teeth. So we're going to have a new logo soon. Sorry for listening, John. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's kind of come up, one of his first big ventures actually in business was to come up with a Hull Comedy Festival. So the aim of it was to create laughter and do social good through comedy, but also improve the nighttime economy. So to get people to stay out after 7 o'clock. Hull still struggles with that. You know, everything shuts at 6:30, and there's not many restaurants open in the city centre and stuff like that. So it's still a need. So it started off in 2007, and then in 2016 it had a bit of a crash with in a couple of promoters in 2013-14. So 13 was great, some really good initiatives. including the hilarious Fringe, which was great. It was about providing low cost for the audience and a platform for comedians without spending loads of money. It was fantastic. A lot of events, like the Edinburgh model, a lot of events were free, and you pay what you want afterwards. Free to get in, pay to get out. I still use that model today. And yeah, so it had a bit of a phoenix moment, if you like. It got more national press in 2014 when a lot of shows got cancelled, and then Jed and then Jack Ledo and a few other local comedians and a couple of businesses got together and created. And John Gilbert, who was the original founder, came back in. He directed it under his company from 2007 up to 13, and then came back in 2015, and that's when me and Jed got involved. And then at the end of it, he went, "You guys know what you're doing." And me and Jed we were friends then, but not close, if you know what I mean. We've developed a relationship over that time. I'd only known him for like 3 years. Wasn't planning on running a festival. I'd only been doing comedy for just over 2 years at that point, so like 2013 is when I started. And we got offered it. It was like, "You guys know what you're doing. You're running nights. You're local. You get it. I trust it. Do you want to run the comedy festival and do what you want with it? Basically, be creative as you want." So I stepped into the role. It was amazing, honestly. Bit of a scary opportunity, but you don't know if you don't try it, do you?
Exactly. Well, out of
it's
all of
flying,
them, out of all of them that I go to, it's one of my favourite ones. And I've only been there once, and I wish I had been more. But you looked after me like I was a VIP. God help you. But it was so good. And what was wonderful for me was that I'd seen Frankie Munro, Joe Kent Walters,
Oh,
win the BBC Comedy Award on the Monday night, and then I saw him in the venue, and he was getting a standing ovation, and I thought, this is
brilliant. It was in a
spectacular.
warehouse, wasn't it? I knew that was going to be a special. We
Yeah, yeah,
converted a
and
warehouse into a comedy club,
this
60
year
seater.
now he's winning everything. I knew he would.
Yeah.
And I met him at Leicester. Again, we went to see the show, and he said, "I just wanted to thank you because the kind words in your blog." I said, "It was extraordinary because it was a moment." You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and that's the magic of it. You're creating these wonderful moments held in the festival.
Yeah, it's a thankless task, isn't it? Running gigs,
Yeah,
being involved in comedy, doing stuff. Like that, when I very first started, I'd go, "Oh, did I do well?" And no, to be honest, I've now found out no one gives a shit. Like if you're on a car journey and the driver's going, he don't care. He just wants you to drop you off and shut up. Um, do you know what I mean? Like no one really
I know
cares.
what
So
you
you've
mean.
got to have a lot of self-belief, if you know what I mean, and try and be true to yourself. And
Yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
talk about being authentic. If I wrote a book, I'd talk about that. And comedy isn't classed as an art form. I won't go into that today
yeah,
from a lot of organisational point of view and statutory organisations. And what you just said there, and that the beauty of, I knew it was going to be a very, very special night that night. I just knew, even before, that's why Joe, we've been trying to get Joe for a couple of years anyway. So the
yeah,
fact that it coincided with a week before,
yeah.
it was just a fantastic
It
evening.
was it was such a great diversity of acts. It's so well run, so well done, you two. Um, to date, what's been your comedy highlight?
Ooh, so oh, two bit. Can I cheat? Can I do two
Yeah,
very
yeah,
quick?
yeah. Please do. Yeah,
So first one, once again with the festival, I'm a big. So I've done all these like psychoanalysis and kind of these psychological things.
yeah,
Where you find out if you're a fox or a bear and all that sort of stuff. If you want a cuddle or you punch
yes,
someone, you get angry quick. One of them type of
yeah,
psychoanalysis. And I'm a big sky thinker. I'm very yellow. I'm very creative. I can see like that umbrella, so I can see the start, the end, and what's needed. And I work like that. In terms of running the projects, I run the festival really as a project. And when we're sat down, it's a bit like the X Factor where we kind of plan out. It was very male orientated in the early days as the festival because that's all the festival could afford or have access to. So we've grown that. We're much more diverse. I'm proud of what we've done. And with that has come some great opportunities. So we are still one of the only festivals in Europe to convert a ferry and put a comedy festival on a ferry.
amazing.
So we did it for City of Culture here in 2017,
That's
and
fantastic.
Ferries loved it that much that they got us. So it wasn't quite a cruise and not that level, but yeah. So we sailed from Hull to Rotterdam, and basically we were the full entertainment. We had over 50 comedians each year,
That's
and we
amazing.
did from the Friday at 4 o'clock until the Sunday at 9 a.m. And we just did some amazing experiences. We converted the two cinemas into comedy clubs. We did a roaming band where we went through the full ferry. We did and things that had not happened on the ferry before. We put a silent act, so the Cagoles were amazing. We put those who were literally don't say anything. We put them on the main stage. 500-600 people watching. They didn't say a word, and Gary was very skeptical about a lot of the stuff we were suggesting because they just were going, "This won't work. This can't work." I went, "Trust us. Come and sing." We had to work with them for about 9 or 10 months before we signed the contract for them to come and see what we did and understand comedy and understand kind of what the risks are. Obviously, the rude stuff we didn't say in the main house. We put that in the theatre. The racist stuff was on the deck while people were smoking. But yeah, one of the proudest moments is the fact that we took at the festival something that we're passionate for, made it into a great thing, and done comedy festival
Oh,
on the
well done.
seas for 2 years. The second one that comes to mind, and I wish it was now. It might happen again in the future. Who knows? But we opened our landmark events venue. So the big arena in Hull, 3,000 seater.
Yeah.
We were one of the test events. So that came about as the sponsors of the arena, and that marketing director just came to a few gigs just by chance, and then said, "We really like what you do. We've been to the festival. Do you want to do a comedy event here?" And we're like, "You what? We're charging £5 above a pub, 50-seater." And they went, "Do you want 1,000-seater a venue?" It was £32 million to build.
Wow.
"Do you want to open it?" And we're like, "Let me think." 10 seconds later, "Yes,
No.
please." Well, I'm often, and this is where we're a good partnership. Jed sometimes reins me in. I'll say yes and then worry about how to do it later.
Yeah.
That's that big sky thinking again. But yeah, so they're for me the two. We got over 800
That's
people in.
fantastic.
We had
That's
Angelos
amazing.
Epithemiou. It was great. It's the pictures, all the stuff we still use. So they're the big things that come to mind. Performing and putting a festival on the sea, and then opening up Hull's flagship arena.
That's so
Great.
impressive. Well done, you. Have you got any ambitions as a comedian?
I think once again, people will tell me, and I let the audience. And when people don't come to the gigs anymore, or I kind of not as enjoying it, I think that's when I'll. So my ambition is to carry on, is to still be funny and relevant,
Please.
and enjoy it. For me, I mean, I'm 42. I'm 43 this year. I don't want to say I wanted to be an award winner, but that's kind of the next level. I'm not, in terms of stand up, I'm not going to be on telly. I'm not going to be on the panel shows. I know that, and I'm happy with that. That's fine. Happy with my comedy writing. I'm happy with the MCing and the kids shows and running events. I love it. And that for a decade, a decade plus to still have that passion is great. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of resilience sometimes, and promoting gigs is no easy feat. So yeah, for me, my ambition is really to keep going, to keep enjoying it, and I guess the cherry on the top would at some point win an award. We've been nominated for the biggest comedy festival awards in the country twice, 2021 and this year. So
That
to
would
have
be
over
amazing.
1,000 shows, 80 plus kids shows, we were in the top 5 is still amazing. Once again, it just validates. It gives you a bit of faith, doesn't it? To go, actually, what we're doing is worthwhile and well thought of.
Well,
And I
it
don't
would
have
be
to
an
be more
honour
than
to give you an award.
Say that again.
It would be an honour to give you an award. It really
I
would.
mean, to be honest, we're running a comedy festival, so if I don't win one before I retire, it'll be Hull Comedy Festival's best kids show. That'll
Yeah,
do. Put it
yeah,
on
exactly.
and smoke a pipe. But no,
Exactly.
I want an award that I've not given myself.
Excuse me. Who makes Gary Jennison laugh? Who are your favourite comedians,
Oh,
past and present? Did you have comedy growing up?
oh, massive. Yeah, massive. Humour's been a big part. A long story. I won't go into it today because I'll need therapy. But humour's played a big part. I mean, for someone like me, humour's been a massive stress reliever. It's
Yeah,
turns. I mean, if you think about it developmentally, you learn to laugh and giggle before you
yeah.
can talk or walk. So that tells me all I need to know about where humour's importance is. And yeah, just enjoying it, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. It's just going for it. So use humour effectively. Sometimes inappropriately, like at school when I was getting into trouble. The early stuff I used to laugh at a lot. I'm very physical. You've seen it in the kids show. You see when I'm hosting, I use the stage, use the props, whether that's someone's chair, someone's head, or at the microphone. Um, so I used to love Buster Keaton. I loved Laurel and Hardy. I loved the physical.
Yeah,
Um, Max Wall. I love that kind of the variety of the old school stuff.
yeah.
Very clever with words. I used to really love the two Ronnies,
Oh, yes.
Malcolm and Wise. I used to watch a lot of the 80s stuff because I'm an 80s kid. So we had what Sky in 1988, and they did a lot of reruns I think it was called Gold or Challenge TV and stuff like that. We had some really good stuff. Now Lee Mack always makes me laugh.
He's
One
so
of the biggest
good.
compliments I got was a few years ago was somebody said, "Oh, you remind me of Lee Mack," and I'll take that. Whether or not they meant looks or not, I don't care. I didn't ask. Stop there. Don't
It's
elaborate.
there is a he is very 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 quick, and so are you.
Yes.
And I think you can certainly see the similarity, which is wonderful because
Yeah.
they're always on, as I said earlier on.
Yeah.
They're always trying to make an audience laugh or a group of people laugh. Yeah,
Yeah, I also love a bit of more diverse. I love I love sketches. So if I
yeah,
didn't done the kids show, I probably would have tried to do improv. Well, I've done improv, but like being in an improv troupe or a sketch group because I love all that. I love
mm,
you know even Hull's got a rich fair form of that with Amy Gledder with Delightful Sausage with
yeah.
Chris as well.
She's lovely. She's so good.
Yeah, she's just everyone's releasing their Edinburgh stuff out
Yeah,
this week.
yeah. She just
So
got a show out, and
yeah,
yeah, it looks really good. Yeah,
fabulous.
she's superb. Yeah,
Doing
and
the
the delightful
news.
sausage I saw as well. They were really funny.
Yeah,
Is that Chris Cantrell? Is it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Doing
yeah,
and I love all that. I love Vic and Bob. I've met Jim actually, Jim
yeah,
Moore. Really nice guy. I just went, "Can I talk to you?" And he went, "Yeah, of course you can." He was just having a cig outside a Bucky's in London. It didn't go in the Bucky's, I don't think. But yeah, just had a chat. Just amazing. Like 12 minutes, just fantastic. Not
wow.
that I was counting. I was absolutely was counting. But no, it was great. So yeah, they're and then like French and Saunders,
Yeah,
the Fast Show.
yeah,
Never been into like the political stuff
yeah,
really. So I do like satire, but I've never really been massively. Used to grow up with like Hale and Pace, who are massively underrated, I
yeah.
think anyway.
I
Uh,
agree. Yeah,
and Spitting Image and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, lots of very eclectic, and you possibly
Great.
you,
All
Rich, can
mixed. Yeah,
probably see that in all my stuff. You can kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
probably see some of that coming through.
My first ever gig was Les Dawson,
Oh,
1974, and
apparently created this acting Hull.
it was just amazing, and he's still top five for me.
Yeah,
Um, and then a year later, I saw Tommy Cooper in Scarborough, who was
nice.
incredible. And then you mentioned the two Ronnies. I was in the audience for the two Ronnies sketchbook, the last thing they ever did,
Oh,
and
nice.
all the writers were in the audience, and they all stood up at the end and
Oh,
applauded. I've never seen so much love for two comedians. There's a section in my blog called "The Ones That Got Away." And top of the tree were Morecambe and Wise, and I
yeah.
can remember. I've got every book behind me about Eric and Ernie. They were just phenomenal. They were too good for the time, and uh, my mum always used to say, "Oh, we went, but you were far too young," and I would
Oh,
have loved to have
I know.
just hugged him or shook his hand and just say, the two of them just say thank you so much. I can remember it's about 5-year old, and everybody in our house was laughing at them regardless of the
Yeah,
age. It was so good.
amazing.
And so of course I had comedy growing up, but myself. But I just love comedians that are storytellers, left field, original, um, surprising, daring, and
Yeah.
you're like a mixture of all of it. And
Yeah, I guess
yeah,
I'm very British. I'm very,
yeah,
um, and to be honest, I'm not. I don't have many. I've not watched a lot of American stuff. You
yeah,
know, really stuff. I'm not. I am kind of old school with a modern twist, I guess. That kind of cheeky postcard. You
yeah,
know, a little wink, little nod,
yeah.
and that little
It's it's it's
innuendo.
it's it's very infectious, and I always remember my friend, my friends Ian and Maria. I was, oh, I'm seeing Gary tonight, and they start laughing without, and you're not even there, and I'm like, yeah, and it's
Hey,
so good,
laughing
But,
with or at me, I'll take it, Rich. Don't you worry. Okay.
and following on from that, do you watch a lot of comedy as a member of the audience?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't give tips really because I think it can be quite patronizing, but the biggest tip is if you want to learn comedy, go watch it.
Mm.
Like if you're a newer act or you're thinking of, some of the stuff I'm doing, is it working? Is it, you want to see the best in the business, go and see comedy. I even see it now where I'm at gigs and the person that's opened the gig, someone who I've booked as well and paying, then leaves. I'm going,
It's not good.
stay to the end. Stay to the end. See, because you get a totally different flavour. And when I'm hosting, you can see the change. I have to bring the energy to the stage, keep that energy level up, especially if someone's been a bit shit. bring the audience back up. And see someone close a gig, and it's a different skill than maybe elsewhere on the bill. But yeah, I think for me, I love it. Love going to see stuff. I still get
Something very
comedy people.
special.
Well, as well, I don't necessarily talent scout, but there is that element of going, oh, I might,
Yeah,
I've got gigs, I might see someone who would be perfect for
yeah,
what I run as well. So,
exactly.
yeah, you can't buy. I try not to pay for it. So if I can get a cheap ticket or for free, I'm happy with that. But go see lots of comedy.
Well, please keep doing what you do because it's just
Oh, thank
a
you. That means a lot. That
wonderful
does mean a lot.
talent. You really are one of. Everybody says, "Oh, Richard's got a load of favourite comedians." I have, but you effortlessly make me laugh, and that is a gift. So thank
Well,
you.
no, thank you, sir. No, that is, like I said, comedy is very subjective, isn't it?
Yeah,
And I think
very. Yeah.
I saw your list of some of your favorite comedians, and I'm like, and I'm on the list, and I'm like, how on earth is that
I
possible?
think it
It's
was an
just
error.
like, yeah, you were drunk. Yeah,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
you've got drunk. Sit in your mastermind chair over there watching late night repeats, and then put your lamp on.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's a massive honour, isn't it? It's just wonderful to be
It's
thought
so
of
good to be
in which
part of either watching it or
because
being it, I presume.
because it's just having a laugh, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's to me that being a comedian is about having fun
yeah,
and enjoying what you do. And if that resonates and enjoys now, whether that brings you money or awards or success is a different argument. That's a different story. The fact that you can go in a room and enjoy it and bring about a something from nothing is great. I love the bear pits. I love sometimes
yeah,
going when
yeah,
people,
yeah.
oh, this is a tough gig, and going, I'll go there, and I love it. I've been to some rough ass gigs where I'm eating curry with the audience members, and they're going, oh fucking hell, oh, you're not shit. Some of the shit ones we're getting here, and I'll take that as a compliment, mate. I'm a jump card.
Fearless.
Yeah, I love it because you learn every time you step on that stage. You learn something, whether that's about yourself, whether it's about your material,
Yeah,
whether it's about kind of, oh, that was funny. I'll say it again next time. You always learn something, and I've met some of the best people and the West, but mainly
hello.
the best people. Not really the middle. But I met some of the best people in my life through comedy, and I'll be ever grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah,
And the opportunity to kind of make people laugh is something I'll never take for granted because I don't get much laughter. But
yeah.
it's a wonder. Without getting too deep, it's a wonderful thing.
It is.
And thank you for inviting me today.
Well, it's promotion time, Mr. Jennison. Before we go, where can people find you on social media, and
Yeah,
what
just
projects are you doing now?
perfect. Yeah, so just for £3 a month, you can sign up to my OnlyFans if you want to see me dip my willy in custard or have a bean bath. For £3, you can see me on there. You can see my naked Patreon. So if you
I'm
want to see me
I'm expecting
undressed,
thousands of
and that's great one just in case we get.
inundated.
Um, so yeah, I'm on all the socials. So if you
Yeah.
want to see some kid shows up and down the country, and we're planning a little mini tour as well. And we've got Hastings coming up.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
see you there.
yeah, you will do. That's not long away in the summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
In June. So we'll be back in. We're going to Hastings. We're doing some stuff in Leicester. We've got some stuff regionally, and then our new show. I can't quite tell you the name of, but it's going to be very interesting. If you like comics and comic book and heroes,
Hello.
then you'll like it. So yeah, I'm on all the socials. So that's Jeddy Bear and Gary on all the socials. Gary Jennison or Gary J Comedy on
Yeah.
all the platforms as well. The next big thing for us is kind of making the festival happen, and we're in early talks to do a big gala this year.
Wow.
So gala stuff we've done in the past, but not on this level. This would be a game changer.
Wow.
So
Well, I'll be
and
there
trying
for
to make
that.
connections across the country. You know, Hull is a bit on out on a limb. You know, you have to make a journey here. You don't like pass through. So trying to get, that's the next big thing, is get comedians who we've not maybe have access to the festival before. So every November we'll be opening up the applications in next month, actually around May time.
Yeah.
So yeah, just come and experience the whole comedy festival, Yorkshire's biggest comedy
Yes,
festival.
exactly. Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I will be there.
Yeah, you'll be one of.
My friend. I'm so
We're hoping for
looking forward
8,000 people plus, Rich, this year. 8,000
Yes.
people over 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's 60 odd shows, 90 odd acts
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. A show on every night nearly, and yeah, hopefully we can build on and carry on what we're doing.
Well, I wish you and Jed, but you mainly, every success going. And thank you so much for being my guest. It is a joy to know you as a person as well
Thanks.
as making me laugh. You are
Thank you.
just one of the best people I know. So
My-
all the very best to you, and thank you so much for doing this.
That's no problem, and I know I'm your favourite. You didn't have to say it, but I say that as a massive compliment. And I'll scrub Jed off. Don't you worry. That's wrong. That's
Put
not
glasses on there, the chin. all the best to you, and I'll see you in Hastings.
Thank you, Rich. Enjoy.
Thank you. All the best, my friend.